This tree nursery is part of the Forest Fruit and Forage for Farm Families project. That's a big mouthful. We just say 5 F's. But the Forest Fruit and Forage for Farm Families project began in this area about 8 years ago. Previous to this project, we had a forestry research project. We wanted to get a low-key way to get in with the community and have an excuse to be out with farmers discussing the things that are on their minds, the things that they struggle with, the things that they have a heart for. And the forestry research project gave us a way to do that. Because the trees in this part of Ethiopia, as in much of the developing world, the native trees are being lost. And they're being replaced by exotic species like the eucalyptus from Australia. The eucalyptus is planted widely here at the cost of the native species. This is an acacia, a local acacia. It's no longer found very commonly around here, but it's one that's very important to the local farmers. They say that as God is greater than the angels, this acacia is better than all other woods. They really value it for their building. But it was being lost from the local context. And so we've been able to bring it back. And every year now we plant thousands and thousands of these seedlings, and the farmers are taking them and liking them. Part of the philosophy of the 5 F's project is simple creation care, taking care of that which God has given us, taking care of that which God has given the Ethiopians as resources for their own lives. This is a plant, this is a tree actually, and I'd say within 15 miles of here there's probably only 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 at most of this tree left. It's a tree that's been highly valued over the years, and so it has been well cut and used by the Ethiopians. But in all of our 8 years here, we have yet to find any seed for this tree. What we did was we did a simple little experiment and took cuttings from the top of that mountain, brought them down here, stuck them in the ground, and these ones have taken. These ones have rooted, and now we can plant them out. As far as I know, in the history of the world, I don't know that anyone's ever done any research on this tree, and it's endangered. But we're able to be one small part of the puzzle, one small piece of the solution to bring this back from being such an endangered species and bringing it back into common use for the Ethiopians of this area. When we started the project, like I said, we did research with farmers. We asked them which trees they wanted, which trees they missed the most, which trees were present when their fathers were young that aren't present now. And we went beyond that, though, and said, what kinds of needs do you have? What are the things that you really need that are beyond trees? And one of the things that they really wanted was fruit. Okay, I see. Most of us from the West can hardly imagine a diet or a lifestyle that's free of fresh fruits and vegetables, free of apples, free of plums, free of peaches, free of lettuce, free of carrots, free of beets, free of these kinds of parts of our diet, vegetables and fruits. But in Ethiopia, in this section of Ethiopia, raw fruits and vegetables was an unknown thing. The only raw fruits and vegetables that were ever eaten were usually eaten by children, usually shepherd boys when they were out in the field, and it would be wild things. As far as fruits and vegetables that were grown and eaten at home, it just wasn't a common thing. When we first came to Injibara, there were no apples in the area, there were no peaches, there were no plums, nothing like that, no strawberries. But we realized that at this high altitude, in this cold tropical place, there was a possibility that apples, peaches, and plums might be viable in this place. So we actually sent one of our staff members for training in apples, and he came back with apple seedlings and pear seedlings and plum seedlings. And this tree is one of those that he brought back at the time. And it's taken 4 years, but this tree is finally bearing its first fruit. But beyond this one, we found the other trees that we have sent, that we've done trials with, that have been bearing fruit. And we have this year a significant apple harvest. For the first time, we have farmers that are selling apples, which is an exciting thing. We have not only apples themselves being sold, but the farmers have found that there's a market for apple trees. It just so happened that as we ourselves were starting to promote apple, it happened at the same time that the government was promoting apple, and the government had no source of seedlings. So as our farmers were starting to get into it, and as Gaetana started to train the farmers, they started growing their own apple seedlings now for sale to the government. Last year, some of the farmers in our area were selling several thousand birr worth of apple seedlings. This is a huge income for farmers in this area. Most of the people in Ethiopia, they live on a income of about $100 a year. So for one farmer to make off of apple seedlings alone several $100s was a big deal on a small plot of land. The project name, if you remember, is Forest, Fruit, and Forage for Farm Families. The farm family itself as a unit is our target. Sometimes people work with the farmer, meaning the male, father, or there's other projects that the target unit is the female head of families, or the wives, the women of the community. But our target unit is the whole family. And we want to bring a better life. A better life is what our project motto is. So the fruit brings a better life for the whole family. For the children who eat the fruit, for the parents who sell the fruit, for the whole family, to bring a unity to the family. So this is part of the philosophy of our project.